Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another week of TGP2 action. Tonight we are racing around Zandvoort, and a little bit later on we will be heading to Monza as this championship battle continues. Although Daniel P. Wheelnut, if he can do well tonight, he really may well be fair to say have one hand on the trophy. After last week, he is now 28 points ahead of Seena and 51 points ahead of Jacko in third place, and Dom has sort of faded away from the championship battle after two poor results last week in the United States and Mexico. But right now, with just over 3 minutes to go in this qualifying session, look at who is on pole position. It is Paul McGee, who has a fantastic 1 minute 10.7 at the minute, and at this moment in time nobody can beat him. Wheelnut just finished a lap and he's only gone fourth on a 111.337, just ahead of Seena, who's spinning at turn 3. And hopefully he's got fuel on the car to go again, because if it stays like this, Wheelnut will be starting ahead of Seena, but only just. And hopefully Seena hasn't got any damage there. But anyway, we're going to have two great races tonight, no doubt. And alongside me is Roy. Hello, Roy.
Good evening, Daniel. I was just looking at Mike Noon attempting a flying lap, and he did look ragged, but also quick, but more so ragged because he has just gone for a spin in the middle sector, touched the curb, and the car pivoted around straight away. But did look like he was kind of oversteering throughout the lap, but he seems to be building up his battery again, so I think he is going to go for another lap. So there is pace in that Williams, he just needs to hook it all up, but that is certainly easier said than done at a track like this. And Dom's on another lap, he's nearly a quarter of a second up after the first sector, so let's see how this progresses for Dom.
Yeah, it's just watching his first sector. He took quite a bit of curb as he was going through the right-hander after Shivlek. But hopefully he hasn't lost too much time. He's only lost literally just a minuscule of time there. But this might be good enough. Will it be good enough for third place? Maybe second. John's just gone into third. Let's see if Dom can get in the top three. Oh, he's invalidates the very end. He put all four wheels over on that curb, and that's an immediate invalidation. I think it invalidates the start of your next lap as well, if I remember correctly. So absolute nightmare that for Dom. He might not get another lap in.
Yeah, it's still the track map is still red for me, so I think that is it for him. I don't think he would have had time to pit anyway. There's an annoying yellow sector. Well, that's it.
Yeah, that was definitely his last lap.
Whether he wanted it to be or not, it's him out of the session, so it'll be P4 at best.
Well, we're not going to see many improvements here from certainly guys at the front, because these guys, Paul, Parser, Wheelnut, all in the pit lane right now. So yeah, it's sort of all down to Seena. John's not going for another lap, I don't think. So yeah, John's pitting as well. So it is going to be Seena, Jacko as well. Jacko is 18 seconds down, so has he got time to cross the line and start another lap? I'm not sure. As Mike Noon goes into third place. So yeah, so Jacko's just starting a lap now. Seena at 10th and a half up. Oh, he nearly lost the car there. But if he can just get ahead of Wheelnut, the championship leader, I think he'll be quite satisfied.
Yeah, because we do have, as you said, like three of the top guys in the pits quite wide.
Oh, he's pitting, Seena.
Oh, well, obviously the lap wasn't going to be any good. I think he lost a lot of time from that oversteer. And Jacko doesn't really have a lot of deployment. I don't think you can do 2 laps around here straight off, using up all the battery, because I think it does end up depleting itself. Owen could spring a surprise here. I'm not quite sure what his first sector was like. Paul McGee retires from the pits. Let's see, as he crosses the second sector, he's nearly 3/10 up on his previous time. Can Owen find his way into the top 6 here? Maybe even top 5, depending on his previous third sector. Keeps it well within the track limits there. Probably could have carried a good bit more speed through there. But anyway, through the final corner comes the Haas driver. His DRS wide open, crosses the line. Improve his time, but not his position. So it's P9 for Owen. Jacko. P5.
Goes 5th. Well, okay then. So we're going to have a bit of a jumbled up grid here for this race. Bazet is not going to improve. Bazet is going very slow at the end of the lap. So that will be the grid then. And it's an interesting one in terms of the championship contenders. We've got Jacko in 5th. Dom in 6th, Wheelnut 7th, and Seena 8th. So the top 4 in the championship are 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th on the road. So this is going to be a very interesting one. It's Paul on pole then, who just seems to be some tracks sometimes, doesn't he? That Paul just seems to have unreal pace on out of nowhere when you least expect it. And it's actually his second pole position of this season. I think the other one would have been Brazil, wouldn't it, probably? And he's on pole here by a tenth and a half. I don't know if he's a Rangers fan, but certainly there's been one success for Scotland so far today in this qualifying session.
Admittedly, that reference went completely over my head, but thank you for explaining. I'm assuming they did well. But anyway, as you said, Paul McGee is on pole position with officially Parsa joining him on the front row. Mike Noon an excellent third with John Menzies in fourth. The top four in the championship, Jacko, Dom, Daniel and Seena, not quite in that order, but they are 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. Mayor Quenby is 9th with Baza on the mediums in P10. Chris Johnson, a fairly disappointing 11th. And, well, let's see what the likes of Mr. John can do from the back of the grid. I don't think there was any real disasters for anybody in that session. But I think just a few disappointed drivers. But, well, nothing more than that, I'd say.
Yeah, so we're going to get ready then for the race, and we are expecting this to be a dry race throughout, but wet or dry, Zandvoort usually tends to throw up an absolute classic. Word of warning, though, I would say, drivers might want to be a bit careful on the fuel around here. It's caught me out almost twice in TGP history around here, and hopefully it won't catch anyone out here today.
As we get ready to go then at Zandvoort. And we are away, and it looked like a slightly initial slow getaway from Paul initially there, but Parsa is just tucked up behind him, so Paul will keep the lead into turn one. It all looks fairly neat and tidy behind. No collisions from what I can see. I think we had a Red Bull running a bit wide in the background. Seena not quite getting the starts he wanted. Oh, and Mike Noon's already gone for an adventure, and John Menzies has almost gone with him there. I think John Menzies will lose a position, but we have a Ferrari off in the background. It's Baza who's lost his wing. So Baza has been caught up in some action there with Dom now up into 5th. John Menzies just about somehow surviving all of the drama surrounding him. Mike Noon, after all that, is somehow still P3. Paul McGee getting the start that he needed, but he does have Parsa all over the back of him.
I think John might have some damage. As he was rejoining the track, he connected with Wheelnut, and Wheelnut also nearly lost the car. I don't know how he did not go in the wall there, because he doesn't seem to have any damage, but wow, that was a scary moment for Wheelnut, and somehow we've still got all 19 runners in this race so far. But wow, got very dramatic through turn 2, 3, 4 there. Mike Noonan somehow getting away with his big moment as well, and is currently in 3rd place right now.
I think, let's see, will John Menzies understeer through this final corner? He's a bit all over the place in the final corner. I think he does, have damage, and indeed he comes into the pits. Indecisive Mackie now has a bit of a run on Jacko. Will he decide to throw it up the inside? Indeed he will not. So he will stay in P9. Chris Johnson's up to 7th after starting in P11, so good start from the Aston Martin driver, with Paul McGee now 1.2 seconds clear of Parsa with a yellow flag in Sector 1. It's a
Indecisive.
for indecisive in the Alpine. But out in front then, Paul McGee now 1.5 seconds clear. Do you remember in where was the track where he just disappeared from everyone?
It was Brazil, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then he lost it, didn't he? When he was trying to catch up with Mike Noonan, I think. I can't quite remember, but he had a big crash, didn't he? When it looked like he was set for possibly winning. So let's see if we can do it this time around. He's certainly in a good position for it, as Chris Johnson's also spun now. I think he's hit that curb just before the final sector, and Baz is out of the race, and that's on the track, yeah. So will that be a safety car if he's towards the racing line? It may well be, but it doesn't look like it will be at the minute. Just notice Seena dropped to the very back. Has Seena pitted? He has, hasn't he? So did Seena also have a bit of damage, I wonder?
He must have, he must have been caught up in that. Paul McGee now 2.0. Parsa now is fighting with Mike Noon for P2. Mike Noon's gone for, well, quite a moment there. Will not get the run? No, he won't. But there's Baz's stricken Ferrari just on the inside there. I think the game will deem that off track. But Mike Noon then had an opportunity on Parsa, didn't quite pay off. Indecisive Mackie picks up our first penalty of the race. It's a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. But yeah, Palmer
Yeah,
G storming away.
he is indeed, yeah. So yeah, it was a front wing change for Seena as well. And who's that? That's Mike Noon. He's been threatening to go off pretty much all race, let's face it, and he's gone into the gravel now, and he's going to drop down to 7th to 8th, and that's a huge shame for Mike. We'll see if he can recover, though. We don't think he's got any damage, but he is down now in 8th place. So it's Wheelnut now, the championship leader, up into 3rd. Dom, who is going to have to try and claw back his way into this championship. Oh, and Parsa spun as well. Parsa's also spun.
Parsa spinning there. That's actually the corner that Softcop spun at and
Yeah.
DNF'd from the race. And Parsa completely lost his wing, so he'll have to pit, and he'll also have to hope there's nobody.
Here comes Dom.
Going to be quick.
Dom for 2nd place around the outside into turn 1, but Wheeler just about manages to close him off, and May Quimby is getting right in there now as well.
This is a 3-car battle for 2nd place. I mean, Paul McGee's now 5.2 seconds up the road, so I think he's just minding his own business out there. So, well, we know that Owen does love a late move on the brakes. He does love to outbrake people, so Dom will be wary of that threat behind. So he just needs to clear Daniel up ahead and see who can be top Manx man in this race.
Well, he's closing in. Meanwhile, Paul has a 5.5 second lead, and actually, I think was it Australia? Actually, I think
I
when
was
you
going to
mentioned the
say,
race,
yeah, it
where
was
someone pulled away.
Yeah.
I think it was, wasn't it? He managed to pull away in Australia, but I don't think he won it.
No,
if I remember. But yeah, and so we're seeing something very similar to that right now, as these three, all battle for 2nd place, and Paul McGee is 5.5 seconds up the road, and Jacko is also possibly going to come into this battle now as well. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with strategy here. Is Dom coming in the pits there? No, he just seemed quite low there through that banking. I think he's having to defend, isn't he, from Owen? And we at least go for it in turn 1, or will Dom catch up to Wheelnut? And Owen thought about the move there, but had to back off at the last second.
Yeah, I think Owen is just making Dom aware of his presence, because he didn't really brake very late, but obviously he swerved his car to the inside, just kind of let Dom know that if he gets an opportunity, he will brake a bit later next time. So, yeah, I think Owen then looking fairly handy right now. Dom is doing fairly well, keeping up with Wheelnut, who doesn't really threaten the apex of the Shy Black corner. But look at Dom, he's got a lot more pace through this section of the track, it seems. Wheelnut maybe struggling with the balance of the car, as Paul McGee is now another second clear compared to the last lap. So he just needs to keep it all together and hope there's no safety car. But John Menzies is in the pits now again. So is that damage for the McLaren driver? I'm not entirely sure, but find himself in the last, nearly lapped already.
And Paul's just nearly pulled a second in this lap. I think Dom is quicker than Wheelnut, I think, but just can't get through. But this going to be his chance now. DRS will be enabled, and he's using his ERS as well, but so is Wheelnut. Dom will surely have the extra speed, though, and if he can get his braking point right and say what, he might make the move. Wheelnut might try and hang it round the outside, but if he's not careful, he might lose 3rd as well. But no, he stays in 3rd, and Dom now up into 2nd place then. But it's crazy how moments in championships can could all suddenly change in just one moment. We seen at the very start of the race, Wheelnut literally tangled with John as he was rejoining the track, but he just got away with it. If that was a DNF, suddenly the championship would have been thrown back in the air again, but instead he's running a fairly comfortable 3rd place. Dom just ahead in 2nd, but quite a way back in the championship. Jacko in 5th, catching up on him, and Seena now, of course, made that stop down in 13th position.
Yeah, so Seena, you'd expect to gain a good few positions, especially if there's a safety car. And speaking of potential safety car threats, yeah, is it just a spin?
Yeah, it's just a spin.
Okay, so that will be fine then. Paul McGee now has a 7.2 second lead. Wheelnut keeping up with Dom through here.
Owen's gone off. Owen has gone right off there on the penultimate corner, and he's also going to try and get back on with it quickly. Oh, he's full revving the car. The tyres will be absolutely doing some big damage there. But can he get going again without losing any more positions down into 9th? Well, I suppose he'll just have to deal with that. But Wheelnut also closing back in on Dom, as he said, and he actually pit straight away, which is probably a sensible decision. Angel versus Death and Chris Johnson are going side by side here through turn 1. And Angel versus Death is having a great race so far. Manages to stay ahead.
Yeah, Angel versus Death by avoiding all of the trouble around them. Of course, Chris Johnson did go for a spin on lap 1 and is now behind the McLaren driver. who has already depleted his battery on lap 7 of this race. No way through Shy Black there. It's a pretty narrow and fast track, so the overtaking opportunities are not often as available as the drivers would like. I thought Chris Johnson was going to throw it up the inside there, but he opts not to. So we have another yellow flag. It's a spin
I think
for
it's John again, is it?
McLaren. Yeah, he's not enjoying Zandvoort.
No, he's certainly not enjoying Zandvoort at all. But and Chris Johnson just didn't even really make any attempt there to go for the move. He was very early on the brake. Surely he could have gone for it, but perhaps just doesn't want to risk a collision. And yeah, so Wheeler in then, championship leader pit. Jacko continues, Dom continues. Where Wheeler was catching back up to Dom, or was staying with Dom, but decides to come in and is going to try and undercut him. But let's see if Chris Johnson can pass Angel vs Death now on the racetrack into turn 1, and he should have that. Unless Angel vs Death can hang it around the outside, but no, there we go. Chris Johnson now up into 6th place, and Wheeler's going to come out in 9th. And he's going to be, 2 seconds behind Mr. John, so he'll hope that's good enough. And Owen's crashed out the race at the bank, and it is a full safety car, because it was a big crash at the bank. And so what's this going to do? Obviously, they're all going to have to adhere to the Delta, but it'll be interesting to see if will he lose out from this. Mr. John going very slowly there, as soon as the safety car is deployed, and the guys around the front are all surely going to be coming in.
Well, Wheelnut is already 21 seconds behind Dom. So, Dom was ahead of him anyway. So, I think Dom, Jacko, Mike, I think they'll all be ahead of him. I think he'll still be ahead of Neljak, though, because the gap between them is only 11 seconds, and it's a very slow pit lane. So,
well,
we shall see.
This is a huge moment. The championship leader could be about to drop some positions here through a safety car. So in comes Dom. Paul's already made the stop. Paul's already heading for the pit exit as Dom and Jacko come in. And where's Wheelnut? Wheelnut just coming into the banker now, and he's gonna have to be able. He might have to be. He can push a bit earlier if he wants to, because the Delta will disappear as he crosses the line. But here comes Dom out the pit lane, and Wheelnut's coming into turn 1. And as Jacko managed to jump him, Wheelnut spun. He's hit the curb. He's hit the curb at turn 1, trying to get ahead of Jacko, and now he loses the place to Mike Noon as well.
Well, I mean, I thought he was going to be ahead of Mike Noon, but obviously not. And
well, he was, but he spun. He would have made that
other way around.
But he spun at turn 1.
I thought Mike Noon would have been ahead anyway. But no, I suppose it's one of the quirks of the game. And I suppose, once it says catch safety car queue, it basically means you just go flat out, so you don't lose as much time. But Wheelnut then, down to 5th, should have been 4th, but you have to work his way back up. I mean, still not a total disaster. I mean, it's still a top 5 finish, but there could be some battles up ahead.
He's very fortunate that there was nobody else who was just coming out the pits there as well. And it was only Mike Noon that managed to jump him as a result of that spin, because it's only cost him 1 position, that spin. He didn't get any damage or anything. So, oh my God, Mike Noon jumps over the curb there at that corner into the chicane. But so quite a few people pitted there for obvious reasons. Seena didn't pit. Seena pitted lap 1, I think. Seena pitted, didn't he? Lap 1, lap 2. And is in 8th place right now on 6-lap-old tyres. Ooh, I wonder if Seena, is he going to get swamped by Angel vs Death, Mr. John, Red Bull Kim, Kaya, Parson at this restart perhaps? Or can he hold it on those old medium tyres? Well, Mr. John's actually pitting again here, so not sure what Mr. John's doing.
He'll probably only lose, I think he lose 3 places, which is still, you have to question what the point is. But I suppose 2 of them, he'll probably pass Red Bull Kim and Kaya anyway. So they're not really going to be much concern.
He's put the softs on as well. He's got rid of the mediums, so he's obviously wants to finish the race on the soft tyres. Not sure what's happened here with Neljak and Chris Johnson. Looks like there's a bit of confusion about who's ahead. Oh dear. Hopefully this doesn't cause a pile up. Looks like Neljak's now gone for it. And okay. And Neljak gets a 5-second penalty for running a yellow flag. That'll be removed, I imagine. I'm not really sure what happened there, but Neljak was ahead initially, wasn't he? I'm pretty sure.
He was, yeah. So
that will be almost certainly removed. for Neljak,
Yeah,
and
maybe.
probably the same for Red Bull Kim.
I mean, it's only speculation, but if Chris Johnson overtook Neljak and then Neljak repassed him and then got the penalty for repassing him,
Yeah.
then it depends though. I mean, there's plenty of unique situations that can arise, but I would imagine. I mean, if anything, if Chris overtook him, the penalty could be swapped. But
Yeah.
the safety car is in this lap then. Now, how will Paul judge this? It all went a bit wrong for Paul in Australia when the pit stops began to happen, but all Paul needs to do is pretty much just make it to turn one and drive like he did in the first stint. He's not really backing the pack up too much. Safety
Yeah, I
car
mean, I think
not too far away.
he's got the pace really to win this, considering I think Dom and Jacko might end up battling, and Parson, who was second in qualifying, is down in 12th. But he's a big way away ahead here. And of course, this is where we saw controversy last season with all safety car overtakes before they crossed the start finish line, which gave Kaya seconds. But the restart begins, and Seena looks to be the closest at the minute to possibly making a move. Is he going to go for Chris Johnson into turn one around the outside? He knows he's got to do it for the championship, because we'll be gaining more points on him. There's still going to be side by side here. This is going to be a bit difficult, a bit awkward to try and get through. They don't make contact, but Chris Johnson just stays ahead.
Just about, yeah. I mean, there was a lot of tire-to-tire contact. It was wheel-to-wheel racing, which is what we like to see, and everyone seemed to come out of that unharmed, as Paul McGee is now already a full second clear. So I think he'll be pretty happy with that. And we have a yellow flag already, and that's the Alfa Romeo stereogram. Will that trigger any other interruption in this race? I don't think it will. Normally they call it by now, so they're happy they can clear that away. As Paul McGee continues to extend his lead with Jacko now, still only half a second behind Dom for P2.
Chris Johnson has made contact with Neljak, and Neljak's spin round. Oh, well, he might have wanted to be angry with him after what happened earlier. And also, Angel versus Death has a wobble as well. He's going to lose a couple of positions. But he'll be even more angry now, because Neljak's gone to the very back of the pack after Chris Johnson made the move. And I think Neljak tried to stay in there, and contact was made. So perhaps that one will go to stewards. But we've now got Parser, who's had an excellent restart, who's now up into 8th place on those fresh soft tyres. Now, we'll see him let him through, because Parson might be able to catch up to... he will indeed, yeah. Parson may well be able to catch up to Wheelnut here and take a position away, because he is flying on those softs.
Yeah, I mean, he's on the soft tyres. He was probably going to pass Seena regardless, so might as well just make it quick, and Seena can now focus on his own race in P8 as Chris Johnson. He's got damage, surely. Yeah, he's...
wow! That of it. Well, that... Where's he got that damage from? Was that when he made the contact with the... It's just a full safety car! Well, he's way off the track. But obviously, they have deemed that necessary to be a safety car. I wonder if he was made contact with Neljak into the corner then, and then also made contact with Angel versus Death, and that's how Angel versus Death lost a few positions. And Chris Johnson may have got some damage and just couldn't turn in to that corner. It almost looked like he had the puncher, didn't it? The way he just went flying off there.
Yeah, there was just absolutely no turning ability in that car. Now, will someone go for a pit stop? I think if you're John Menzies...
No.
Surely no one at the front. Why would you do it?
Well, I mean,
I've seen it before, but I mean, it never really makes sense. But I think it will make sense for John Menzies, Neljak, and I suppose Red Bull Kim, and Kaya. Sure, why not? Kaya's the... Oh no, Neljak pits as well. I think John Menzies probably should have pitted there as well, to be honest. But, well, I mean, Neljak, he was having an excellent race. He was running in P6 before that contact. He's gone for the soft tyres, and also to serve a penalty. That penalty he got...
Yeah, a 5-second penalty.
Okay, so at least
for the
now
yellow flag.
It's definitely removed now, so
yeah.
I suppose there is that. But, yeah, the interval's broken. I don't think it matters. We're behind safety car anyway. But, yeah, let's see what Neljak can do then from P15 on those soft tyres. I think Parsa is probably the biggest driver to watch now, because Parsa is now a lot closer to this top 5 than he was beforehand. Won't have a lot of laps though to really do any damage. I think the safety car will probably come in at the end of the next lap. So
yeah,
we'll get a 4-lap race at the end.
I mean, was Parsa already used up all those soft tyres. He was pushing very hard at the restart. Has he still got some life left in them? Because if he can go for the move on wheel nuts at this restart, it will be huge for Seena's championship, and then maybe Seena might be able to get involved as well. So we will find out, but wheel nut may well be coming under threat from those two AlphaTauris behind at this restart. That's going to be well worth watching. Angel versus Death, it's still in a pretty excellent 8th place, despite the minor spin he had. But yeah, at the minute, Paul is going to have to deal with another safety car restart. He dealt with the first one very, very well. Let's see if he can do it again.
Yeah, I think Dom was maybe thinking, well, Paul's going too quick here, so the game will actually slow him down, and Dom will be able to get a run into, onto the start-finish line, but it didn't really work out like that. But then again, Dom was also well clear of the car behind him. So I don't know. We'll see what happens this time anyway. We'll see. Paul will probably just do the same thing, given that it worked for him last time, so why not do it again? As everyone is now caught up to the back of the train.
Do you think we might get a restart on this lap?
I think so, yeah. I don't see why not. I mean, everyone's caught up. There's, the car's gone from the outside of the track. So
it'd be pretty nice if we did. I have to say, it would be pretty nice if we did get a restart on this lap. I think it would also allow for an extra lap of DRS as well towards the very end of the race, but we'll find out in a minute when they hit the second sector points, and it is coming in this lap. So here we go then. Get ready for this restart. I think especially it's going to be interesting to see what Parset will try and do on those soft tyres with the championship leader just ahead of him. Don't forget that Seena is 28 points back at the moment.
Yeah, Paul's going a little bit slower than he did last time, so let's see when he decides to floor it. I think it's now. No, it's not. Be careful you doesn't accelerate too much and then decelerate. You don't want to be doing that, and Paul's gone for it now as the safety car just about enters the pit lane. Dom then a little bit better than last time, but Paul, I mean, he's still 7/10 clear. But it's actually Mike Noon who's got the run, and Mike Noon is going to go around the outside of Jacko at turn 1, or at least he will attempt to. Doesn't quite work out for him. Parsa all over the back of Wheelnut already, as Wheelnut has a bit of a moment, and that allows Parsa up into the top 5, and now Seena's on his inside, but Wheelnut has the better run. Now Seena, he's in the slipstream heading up towards Shyblack, but he doesn't have the room to make any sort of move, so he'll have to stay behind the Mercedes driver for now.
Oh, Seena's lost it on the curb! Oh, and Angel versus Death hits him!
Oh, and there's John Menzies is out of the race.
Huge crash.
Oh, and there's more collisions with Neljack now up into P11, but I think Neljack now does he have damage? Oh, but he's gone for a spin now. I think that may be damage. Well, that's certainly damage. So Paul McGee, 1.7 seconds clear meanwhile, as we have cars battling. Parsa is already up into P4, down the inside of Mike Noon. So can Parsa end up on the podium?
It's another safety car.
What?
Well, it was a big crash, wasn't it? I mean, John literally went directly into Seena there, didn't he? And it caused a massive crash. But I didn't think it was going to be a safety car because we'd only just got going again. But
it's also
obviously,
lap 15.
Yeah, well, lap 16. Now, it was a very, very big crash, though. It was huge.
It was, yeah, but
hopefully everyone's all right down there.
The Codemasters race director normally doesn't care if it's the last few laps. At that point, there is a cut-off point. If you get injured after that point, well, I mean, that's a you problem. But the race director's feeling a bit considerate today, so we will actually have some added safety to the racetrack by means of this car.
It's turned into a disaster race for McLaren, hasn't it? Because John was right up there to start, then obviously had the problem at the very start into turn 1, turn 2, turn 3. And then Angel versus Death was running well, but then they both got involved in that crash there. And Seena somehow is still in 9th. So it's not like he lost a wave of positions. He's actually still in a decent enough ninth place. Although he has done now 13 laps on those medium tyres and has been banged and bruised all over the place. But we'll see if he can get to the end and if he can at least maybe still getting the points. And the safety car's in this lap,
What?
so obviously very quick recovery because we're going to get going now for lap 17, and Paul's going to have to deal with another safety car restart.
I mean,
I have to say, I can't wait to see what the drivers make of this later. There's going to be some interesting views on this race, I imagine. But once you see what happened, you might be able to, you might realise why it was another safety car. But anyway, Paul's now got to try and get another safety car restart correct if he wants to win a race. And Dom's a lot closer there, isn't he?
Dom's a lot more keen this time, I think.
Does he fancy this?
Fancies a race victory because he's going to have to get ahead immediately. But I think Paul has the better run, but Dom has the slipstream. But I don't think he's going to be close enough into turn one this time around. It's Parsa I'm interested in. He breaks way later than the Ferrari up ahead of him, and he's going to be run wide there. So Parsa is wise to back out of it, but he's got the inside line for turn two. Almost contact made as Jacko almost misses the corner. But Parsa then will surely have a better run heading out of this corner. Instead, it's actually Mike Noon who gets the better run, and he almost chops across the front wing. Parsa there, but Parsa will have to stay behind Jacko into this corner. But surely...
Oh, this is unbelievable. We've got Wheeler in 6th place now, and Seena in 7th. Seena had a fantastic restart. He got past Mick Schumacher, but he did collide. Mick Schumacher might not be too happy about that, but that might go to the stewards. So still, after all that, Seena's only one position behind Wheelnut. He's only going to lose by, just a point in the championship.
Yeah, the championship is still alive for Seena at the moment, and it's going quite well for Dom as well, and Jacko, who are both currently occupying the podium places. But of course, Parsa will be on a charge for this final lap of the race, and he's already got the run on Jacko. Jacko makes him go around the outside as Paul McGee sets the fastest lap of the race, but around the outside then can Parsa slot himself onto a podium place? Yes, he can. Clean around the outside. Brilliant move from the AlphaTauri driver. Will Jacko lose a place to Mike Noon there? I thought Mike Noon had quite the run out of turn one, but not quite. But Parsa then, I don't think he's going to have the time to catch Dom up ahead, but he's already now up into P3. I think he'd be pretty happy with that, but ruining that third safety car. But nonetheless, he's onto the podium after a pretty eventful session for the AlphaTauri driver.
Oh my God! Nearly went into the gravel edge. Just about got away with that.
Can Wheelnut get the run then on Mike Noon with dirty tyres? I don't think he will, because of course DRS has not been enabled on this lap, much to the relief of some, but to one driver who won't care whether it's enabled or not, because it's not relevant to him, is our race leader Paul McGee, taking a very wide line through the final corner then. But it's an absolutely brilliant race victory for Paul McGee, who wins in the Netherlands with Dom Smith P2, Parsa completing the podium just ahead of Jacko. Parsa must have made a bit of a mistake in that final sector, just a tenth separating them. Mike Noon just about makes it home to P5 after several attempts to up in the wall. Wheelnut is 6th with Seena 7th. Indecisive Mackie brings it home in 8th with Mick Schumacher. Marco in 9th. Kaya completes the top 10 with Mr. John 11th. Red Bull Kim 12th. Angel versus Death about to cross the line in P13. I think the driver, a driver who'll be pretty annoyed with that will be Neljak, who was running 6th, but then had that collision in the race.
Yeah, he was having a great race, wasn't he? But sadly, it just fell apart for him. But yeah, well, it always seems to deliver Zandvoort in TGP. And it has once again. It was a bit of a slow burner that for a while. It was quite after the lap 1 shenanigans. It was a bit of a slightly processional, but then it all started to kick off, and a dramatic second half of the race. But what a win for Paul! He will be over the moon.
I think he led every lap, took pole position, fastest lap of the race, the Grand Chelem for the Scotsman. Not entirely sure I agree with Codemaster's decision for driver of the day. I mean, I suppose it's easier to achieve when you refuse to qualify, but I mean, when you finish P11, it's not really much happened there. But I
Yeah,
guess it just shows most people did finish sort of around where they qualified. But well, it was still an eventful race nonetheless. That is actually kind of weird though, because like there weren't, for the most part, not really huge moves throughout the field. Yet we were kept entertained throughout because you never knew what
yeah,
was going to happen next. So
yeah,
I mean, Dom going from P6 to P2 is huge for him. So
yeah.
kind
I'm
of
gonna try and
might find a way back
work
into
out
this
this.
battle.
Gonna try and work out the standings during this pause between now and the qualifying session of the next race because I'm sure Wilnot will obviously still be in the lead, but it will have closed up quite a bit. Wilnot had 193 points coming into tonight, and he finished sixth on the Josiah point system. That's 9 more points for him now, so he'll be on 202 points. And I'll try and work out the other guys as well. Still can't believe Seena somehow managed to get a decent amount of points in that race after everything that he went through.
Yeah, I mean, if you finished that race and didn't completely shear your wing off, I mean, actually, then again, didn't Parsa have no wing at one point?
I think so. Yeah, because he made the very early stop, didn't he? He done pretty much all the race on those medium tyres.
Yeah, so well, just shows it is better to just keep your race as smooth as possible. Which at Zandvoort is easier said than done. It's also easier said than done at Monza, which is not exactly my favourite track on this game. I suppose actually it probably isn't yours either, given.
Well, sadly not after last night. No, it was a great race through the field, and then took it a bit too much through Ascari on the final lap, trying to get second place. I should have just settled for third, really, considering how bad the qualifying went, and binned it.
And I think there will be more of that tonight because TGP1 qualifying, we did see several drivers crashing out, and in the race as well, we had some drivers with some incidents. So Monza, it's very tough on this game with the combination of the car and curb physics. It's just not a forgiving track whatsoever, and I think some drivers compromise their setup to induce a lot of understeer just to purely, counteract that. So
Well,
hopefully that's fixed for the next game.
the championship standings then, we've got Wheelnut on 202 points, Seena on 173, so he has extended his lead in the championship, Wheelnut, but of course it's also brought Jacko and Dom much closer, and Jacko and Dom are now tied on points on 154 points each. So still Wheelnut's got a comfortable lead, you would have to say, but Jacko and Dom coming back into it slightly, and Seena having to play damage limitation really from the very early stages of that race, only dropped a point to Wheelnut.
Yeah, so we'd be hoping for a smoother race here in Monza as we count down the final few seconds. And I wonder what the weather is going to do here because you can get rain around Monza every now and again,
Yeah,
and it's not an easy track to do when it's wet. But let's see then, as our screens load up, what the weather conditions are like. That's very dry.
it is. And I'm just looking at Stereogram stream here, and we'll see if it's going to be a wet race or if it's going to be dry. I can't. It looks like it's going to be a dry race as well then. So, yeah, dry race. There's a 2% chance of rain in this qualifying session, or a 1% chance for the race. So, unless we get a highly unlikely situation, it does look as though we're going to be having another dry race here. But here we go then, Monza, Temple of Speed. There's going to be a lot of slipstreaming, a lot of DRSing going on in this race. Who will come out on top, I wonder? And of course, are we going to see, and we surely will see throughout this qualifying session, a bit of the toe deployed at some stage? And of course, remember when Parser and Seena used to give each other the toe practically every single track, whether it was Monza or Monaco. But surely Parser will be given a toe to his teammates fighting for the championship at some point in this qualifying session.
Yeah, you'd imagine so. It's one of the few tracks where it actually makes sense to do it. Because the toe is not quite as powerful. Well, it's nowhere near as powerful on the game as it is in real life. You hear drivers talking about how they don't want to be within 5 seconds of the driver ahead because of dirty air, but it's no such problem on the game, I suppose, thankfully. But although around Monza, though, they want to be within that kind of range. But you have to be really up behind someone to get any kind of advantage. But I'm sure the AlphaTauri drivers will try it nonetheless. If they don't spin, that is. I think Parsa may have gone for a bit of a spin.
Yeah, I think Parsa maybe on the curbs, on the exit there of the first chicane. I think he did hit the curb. And of course, the curbs are pretty lethal around here now since that update. As certainly I found out yesterday, it was the first time I'd done it since the update around here. Raced around this track, and you really cannot just cut across those curbs anymore. You have to be a lot more careful with it, otherwise your car will be sent into the air or you'll go for a spin. You have to be so careful over those sorts of curbs, as it should be, of course.
Yeah.
But it certainly increases the challenge.
Yeah, I don't know if Paris has done this since the update either, because his outlap has been quite eventful. So good luck to him. But yeah, we've got some drivers who are on their first laps as Mr. John goes for a spin at, I believe that's the first chicane. The Fanatec branding. Oh, Mike Noon's out of the session.
Mike Noon's out. He's at the exit of the second chicane, but a little bit further forwards to where I crashed in qualifying yesterday. So whether he dropped it, managed to save it, but then dropped it again, and he's gone straight into the wall, and that's it for Mike Noon. He'll be starting at the back. So if he's not done any practice around here with the new curbs, he's going to be going straight into the race.
Fantastic. We've got Wheelnut, who is on a lap that is valid, which is more than what can be said for Seena, because he seemed to invalidate his lap at the first chicane. There's another yellow flag. To be honest, I think we're going to see a yellow flag for the majority of this session.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's Jacko spun now as well at the first chicane. Is that? Yeah, it is the first chicane. I think there's another car off there as well, somewhere. I think it was an Alpine, I think. We might have had a moment as well. But anyway, we've got some lap times on the boards. The McLaren 1-2 right now. And they bounce back after the high disappointment of Zandvoort. And as he did last year, get a 1-2 around here. Jacko's still on the gravel there, recovering, waiting for all cars to go past them. As Wheelnut now goes into second place.
We've got Parsa on a lap in the final sector. What can the AlphaTauri driver do? I think he's giving a toe to his teammate. So I think Seena is gearing up for another lap then, and Seena will get the toe this time around. So what can Parsa do? It's provisional pole, and Seena then will get the toe.
Oh, look at that!
Well, there you go. Let's hope we can actually brake in time for turn one.
Oh,
well. It's all very well and good getting the toe, but you have to actually counteract the speed you take.
Yeah.
Kai is out of the session.
Kai also out. Yeah, that's at the exit of the second chicane as well. It's certainly, with the new curbs, it's really can be quite difficult on the exit into that second chicane now. And it looks like Kai has binned it as well. On the other side of the track this time, towards the left-hand side, he's gone into the wall there. Seena having to avoid him slightly, but anyway, Seena's obviously going to continue this lap, despite the fact he can obviously improve quite a lot in the first sector. He might be able to improve quite a lot in the second Lesmo as well, as he went slightly wide through there. If he does something similar into a Scotty, he may end up in the wall, as Wheelnut goes on pole on a 21.7, and Seena again going off the track. He's all over the place here, and again wide, and incredibly he still hasn't invalidated yet, but he will have lost a lot of time throughout anyway by making these errors. He will surely be going again a little bit later on. He's still got 12.5 minutes.
I think Seena's a bit allergic to his brake pedal. He's nowhere near the apex for a lot of these corners, but he crosses the line. It's still provisional P3, about a tenth off provisional pole. But well, that just shows Seena has a lot of pace
Definitely.
to be unveiled. But what about John Menzies then? He's a third of a second up on his time, now nearly half a second up on his time after the second sector then. So John Menzies then in the fight for what is provisional pole. Of course, still a long way to go in the session, but the McLaren driver is flying out there. Just has the newly renamed Michele Alboreto curve.
Of course, yeah.
Such an iconic name that is definitely stuck in the minds of Formula One fans across the globe. As John Menzies crosses the line, it is provisional pole. Well, was provisional pole as Jacko immediately dethrones it with a 21.2. He's nearly 2/10 of a second up on the McLaren driver. Is Seena gone for another lap? No, he's just in lap. Who have we got on a lap then? Is
Jack's just gone to sixth. Yeah, I think we've got a few drivers on outlaps really now at this stage. Stereo ground coming round the Michele Alboreto curve, and he's actually gone quite wide through there. But we'll have lost a bit of time, and actually I think he's going to come into the pit lane. So waiting for some more laps then. Is it Paul? Well, he surprised us all last time out. Let's see if he can surprise us this time around. He took a lot of curb in the second chicane there, but again, he was quite slow through there. But as a result, you can't just go for it too much now because you will spin. But we'll still see if Paul's got the pace to put a decent lap in here and once again be fighting for victory. Incredible if he used to win both races in one night. See what he can do through a Scotty here. Oh, just a little lift of the throttle there. Wasn't too trusting of the car through the middle section. He's going to try and get a bit of a toe from this McLaren. Not really sure there's much you can get from that. From John moving quite slow into the parabolica final corner. Oh, he's had to straighten the car out there, and he's actually invalidated the lap. And so he pits.
Yeah, I mean, I think looking at how scruffy Seena's lap was, I mean, I think you are, much better to be safe than sorry. It's kind of my approach yesterday, and somehow ended up fifth on the grid. So I mean, I think it is. I think it is the best strategy to take heading into this session. So Paul McGee and Baza yet to set a lap. Baza is on a lap though. He's on the medium tyres. He does like to do this. Well, I suppose if it works for him, it didn't work for him in Zandvoort because he was out of the race. But it's a big chunk of oversteer heading out of the first chicane, the second corner. But the Ferrari driver then yet to set a lap in this session. We've got Wheelnut, Parsa, and Seena and Dom on outlaps at the moment, so they'll be getting their second runs in shortly. I think Mick Schumacher just posted a time.
I'm not sure, but
he's not on a lap anymore.
But I don't think he's pushing because he's not. Yeah, he's not got ZRS or anything like that. So it's got a very slow moving Alpha Tauri causing a few yellow flags there. It's parted, isn't it? So I don't know if they're going to try and give each other the toe this time round. But Seena's coming round the back straight, coming towards Parabolica, and Parsa is heading up to Ascari. So. I think Parson might have gone off though because he's got a lot of dirt all over his car right now. I don't know if that's just on my screen.
Yeah, his tyres are a bit scruffy.
Yeah, so maybe he had a bit of a moment on his outlap as well. Seena is at the front and is starting a lap, and he's at Wheelnut's just ahead of him. So we're going to have two laps come through here in quick succession with two drivers fighting for the championship. And actually, we've also got Tom, who's a little bit further around the track. He's just completed the first sector. So let's see what Dom can do first of all then. Through the second Lesmo. Just about got through that.
Yeah, just about. Looked like a big kick of oversteer on the exit as Merrick Quemby pops himself up into P3. Of course, I think Owen won in TGP2 a few seasons ago around this circuit. So Owen is pretty quick at this track. I think he actually took pole as well, which was quite a surprise because qualifying is not a strength of his at all. But Dom then round the Michele Alboreto curve just rolls off the tongue But let's see what the Alpine driver can do. Currently in P8. He'd like to be a bit higher than that, and it's P3 for now. But what can Wheelnut do is 2 tenths up on his previous best time, which would be enough to overhaul Dom for P3. But if he can find more time in the final sector, then who knows? It could be challenging for pole position. Baza is out of the session. He's crashed at the exit of Ascari. But Wheelnut crosses the line then, and it is provisional pole by 1,000th of a second. Maybe it could have been about 200ths had he gone to the right there instead of drifting out to the left. But who else have we got on laps? I think Seena coming around the final corner.
Yeah, Seena backed off massively. He's going to go again.
Okay.
Here
Parsa,
because
though.
he had a terrible run through the second chicane. Seena, is Parsa going to go on pole? No, he goes third. Oh, it's so close.
Look at that. What, 12 thousandths of a second separating the top three at the moment. Still a bit of time to go, though. There will be more runs coming from these drivers, so it's looking pretty good right now. We've got John Menzies also on a lap right now. I think, actually, his battery's not going down, so I don't think he is.
I tell you what, I think Seena's the one to watch here because he's finally had a good run through both of the first two chicanes, and both of them look really clean. So is this the lap now for Seena? I thought he was backing off quite a bit at the end of the last lap. I thought he was maybe waiting for his teammate to get a tow, but he decided to just leave him, and actually probably a good idea because Parsons just spun again. But Seena is flying, 53.7 middle sector, nearly half a second up. Can he get himself onto pole? Nice run through Ascari. Oh, he's got a bit wide there, but it's not an invalidation. And if he can just get a run through the parabolic now, he could be going onto pole.
So let's see then, how will he negotiate this final corner of the circuit? Gets a nice bit of apex there without going too much over the curb. And Seena then, does he go to the right? Yes, he does. Minimises his distance, and it is provisional pole by quite a distance as well. It's nearly 3/10 of a second then. So Seena taking provisional pole with 5 minutes to go in this session. And at the moment, I would say any of the top 7 plus Paul could be on for pole here. I would be surprised if anyone else manages it. No offense to those drivers, but I mean, we know qualifying is not Chris Johnson's strength. But I mean, hey, if he wants to prove me wrong, I'm all here for it. But let's see what happens.
Don't know. Jacko was on a lap, but it looks like he had to spin at Ascari and somehow got away with it without destroying his car. He was on a lap because he set a very quick middle sector, but dropped it at the exit of Ascari, and I assume he's going to pit. Surely he's not going to continue after that spin. No, yeah, he come into the pit lane then. So Seena on pole, but as you say, he's got quite a lot of drivers who could beat that lap time if they can get the perfect lap in.
I've just been informed by our own Louise Goodman, or our own version of Louise Johnners. He has informed us that the Monza update, where they basically just made everything worse, was the day of or the day after they updated this track. So TGP2 actually has raced Monza with these terrible curbs.
I couldn't remember if it was because I know it was just after the TGP1 update, but a TGP1 race around here last season. But I couldn't remember if it was the TGP2 race was done and then it was the update, or if not. So yeah, so maybe some of the drivers will be familiar with it then.
How did he know that?
I really don't know. But yeah, so perhaps some of the field will be aware of it if we did race around there that time just after the update. I know it was certainly just after the TGP1 race, but yeah, it might have been TGP2 as well. I couldn't quite remember. But anyway, here comes Wheelnut, and he's going to be the first driver, I think, here to set a lap on what will probably be the final runs of this session. And let's see if Daniel P. Wheelnut can get anywhere near Seena's lap time.
Let's see how we negotiate the first chicane. Not a great camera angle, because I was thinking, why is he going so slowly? But then you forget how tight that chicane actually is. So the camera not really doing a great deal of justice to these cars. But it looked fairly neat and tidy anyway. No major dramas from the off-board camera anyway. And he pretty much matches his first sector, 200ths down on his previous time though. But I think if he can just find a little bit of pace, then he should secure himself, you'd imagine, at least a top 5. But we'll see what the Mercedes driver can do. He can take a lot more risks because, I mean, I suppose he does have something to lose, but he also could potentially then have something to gain. And look at this, he is gaining 3/10 of a second. Oh, it's a bit wide through the middle part of Ascari though, which compromises his exit. But it looks fairly neat and tidy despite that. So let's see what the Mercedes driver can do then. If he can just match his previous final sector, then it will be enough for a provisional pole. Engine versus Death will take no further part in this session, but Daniel P. Wheelnut crosses the line then, and he does go to the right this time, and it is provisional pole by over 1/10 of a second. Jacko's in Sector 1. Where is Dom on the circuit? He has just finished Sector 1.
He's slightly down, just nearly 2/10 down, Dom, there into Sector 1. I didn't quite catch Jacko's, but maybe it'll update for me in a minute. But yeah, so Dom is quite a way off. He's going to have to improve to get up the field. And he's actually backed off, Dom. He's backed off on this lap. He's going to try and go again. But yeah, it was all in that middle sector, wasn't it, for Wheelnut? Incredible middle sector. Jacko's just almost a 10th up after the first sector. So what's it going to be like second sector? It's 2.5 nearly. Can he get a run through Ascari? And it's much nicer through there than what Wheelnut did. Dom moves out the way. He doesn't want to be given the championship rival any sort of tow. But can Jacko? Well, he looks like he might get into seconds. I don't think. Well, yeah, we're not going to see Seena or Parser come out for another run here. Can Jacko put it on pole?
Well, I mean, his final sector looked a lot better than Wheelnut, so let's see. Then Jacko crosses the line. It is provisional pole, 5 thousandths clear of Wheelnut. Let's see, we've got Menzies exiting the second Lesmo now. Is anyone else further around? Owen isn't.
John Menzies he's 3/10 up first sector, 4/10 second sector for John Menzies. Oh, he's a bit not the greatest line through Ascari. You hitting the apexes. He was all over the place through the apexes there. That wasn't a great run through Ascari. He might have lost a bit of time.
He may have, but it should still be enough for an improvement in position. But will it be fourth? Will it be third? Let's see then how the McLaren driver will finish this session. Paul McGee will start no higher than 17th as
he's backed off, John.
Not entirely sure what the point.
Dom's crashed at the second chicane. Dom crashed at the second chicane when he was trying to improve, so that's Dom in 6th then. But I tell you what, you might lose some more position because look at Owen, he's nearly half a second up.
I don't know if he had an oversteery moment at the exit of Ascari there, because when I cut to him, it looked like he was kind of swerving left as if he was trying to correct something. But Owen across the line, then where can he end up? It's P4 for Mayor Quenby. He's up into the top 4, second row of the grid. We've got Neljak and Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson will be the first one of these drivers across the line. We've also got Mick Schumacher out there on the circuit. Chris Johnson then not using a lot of the track in the final corner, crosses the line, and it's P8. But can Neljak swap positions? Yes, he can.
Yes, he can.
Mick Schumacher, he tries to swap ends in the pit lane. But Jacko then 5 thousandths clear of Wheelnut.
Wow. Well, it was close throughout, wasn't it? Some of the times there, it looked like Seena managed to pull away slightly, but Wheelnut and Jacko putting in 2 great laps at the end there. And Jacko, Wheelnut might have thought he had the pole sorted, but Jacko gets it by 5 thousandths of a second, and he will be starting ahead then. Remember, 154 points for Jacko in the championship, Wheelnut on 202, so seriously needed to get pole to keep his championship chances alive, and that's exactly what he's done. And he's going to have Wheelnut in second, Seena in third, but the other championship contender, Dom, well, he is down in 7th.
Yeah, I mean, an eventful qualifying session there, and yeah, that margin at the top, 5 thousandths of a second. Chris Johnson, kind of in his usual spot in P9. Engine versus Death making the top 10, with Red Bull Kim in P11, making use of the drivers who didn't complete laps. Now, I think the drivers to watch are definitely going to be Mike Noon, Paul McGee, Baza in P15. I want to see how they progress through the field because that will surely be quite an interesting one. And I expect, even though it is set to be a dry race, I do expect quite an eventful evening. I mean, didn't Mike Noon
Oh,
win
absolutely.
last season? Oh no,
Uh,
it was Wheel not last season. It was 2 seasons ago that Mike Noon won the race in the white Red Bull.
yeah, I think so. I'm not entirely sure. I don't think I've commentated on a TGP Monza race for a couple of seasons, to be honest. I don't think. But anyway, I think at the start, it's going to be worth watching Seena and Parser because we know they get quick starts and it's a long run to turn one. I'm just saying, if they can get an electric start here, come to that chicane, well, they might cause an incident, but they might be 1-2.
Well, let's see what happens then. We've got Jacko on pole from Wheelnut, and we are away in Monza, and it looks like it's a pretty good start from the AlphaTauri in P3, but not oh, there's the electricity there, as up the middle of the two of them. Seena goes, and will he outbrake them into turn one? Oh, they both missed the corner there, and it's actually...
They're both going to get penalties, surely.
Seena is the one who... well, Seena's gone up the road. Parsa then takes what could be the net lead of the race. Who even knows at this point? But Seena and Will not missing the corner there. We've got Parsa in P3 with Jacko up the inside. Will Jacko take the position? Yes, he will. Parsa was just going to get run out of road there as Owen has now got the inside line on Parsa into the Lesmo. Parsa just turns in. Parsa should have given him more room there, I think. That's Owen in the gravel trap at Lesmo, but it is a long race. Well, it's not really, but there's still plenty of laps to go and plenty of incidents probably still to come, because it is the nature of the circuit. But, eventful start.
Yeah, as we thought.
Oh, there's their first retirement. Oh, no, it's
Jacko.
not. Somehow, Jacko has survived. His car is still in the race. I don't think it has a wing anymore. No, it doesn't. But Seena then's already a second clear. And let's just have a quick look at what that penalty actually is.
Well, it's 10 seconds. It's 10 seconds for Seena.
Wow.
So they made contact, didn't they? They were side by side. He didn't want to be the one to lose the position. They were both very late on the brakes, but I think they did make contact, which made it even worse for both of them. And Wheelnut went straight on. Seena went across the grass, but I think Wheelnut backed off sufficiently enough that it was only a 3-second penalty for Seena. For Wheelnut. But for Seena, it's a 10-second penalty. Now, is he going to protest that? Because he's certainly still driving as if this race is totally going on as normal, and he's still pushing. And that's going to be going to stewards, isn't it? 100%. But Seena just got such a good start. It was three of them all side by side. Fantastic stuff. But it was always going to result in something crazy going on, wasn't it, I think? And that's what ended up happening. Look at Angel versus Death in 6th.
Yeah, it's a brilliant start from the McLaren driver. And yeah, as you said, I think Seena will... Well, I mean, I think he'll just have to go as quickly as he possibly can regardless. But I think he'll be hoping for no safety cars, although given that we've already seen a crash plus 2 collisions on lap 1, I'm not too optimistic on that front. But Dom then looks a little bit quicker than John Menzies at this moment in time. Paul McGee is already up into P8, and he's pressuring the Williams ahead of Neljak. And it looks like Angel versus Death is kind of holding his own around here. Remember, there was a season where he managed to crash Curva Grande backwards, but long gone are those days, as Paul McGee has the inside line into turn 1 on Neljak, I should say. But Neljak will try to hang around the outside, but in the end has to relinquish the position to the Aston Martin as Angel versus Death gets a big kick of oversteer. Paul McGee tries to avoid it, and there's sandwiched. And Paul McGee finds himself in the wall somehow. I don't think the drivers on the outside and inside knew that there was actually a third car involved. So
yeah, Neljak was just in the middle of a wedge, really, that just was always closing, and then they both spun, and Neljak didn't spin.
Yeah, Neljak's loving it. He's up in P8 as Chris Johnson's gone for a spin, or maybe that was a collision, because that's not normally a place you end up. But Chris Johnson then is P11, and Mayor Quemby's back in the top 10 after being last and deep in the gravel trap at Lesmo 1. He's already back up. He's gained 9 places in that time. But anyway, we've got John Menzies now behind Dom Smith, but he will have DRS on this lap because, of course, it was enabled on this lap. Seena is doing very well. He's 2.2 seconds clear of Wheelnut out in front. So great pace from the AlphaTauri driver. Dom deciding to break the toe. Be careful, I didn't want to do that when Menzies is too close behind him. And Menzies, he thought about it, but the problem with this chicane though is that it's not very deep. It's a very narrow chicane, so to actually outbrake someone is quite difficult. So Jack then, he's having a bit of a moment.
Out the race.
Yeah,
that's Scotty, isn't it?
There's our safety car.
Safety car. Yeah, well that felt inevitable in this race, didn't it? But I think John would have got Dom there if he used his ERS, but he decided not to. He just used the DRS and still nearly got him, but didn't quite make the move. Anyway, safety car's out after 4 laps on the 4th lap, so surely all these guys are all going to pit. But I'm just wondering, and Jacko gets another pit lane. I think that's the second one of the race, but I'm just wondering. I don't think I've seen anybody pit in this game with having a 10-second penalty. So will Seena have to save the full 10 seconds in the box right now?
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's more of a public lobby thing that we see normally in league racing. 10-second penalties, they're quite rare. So let's see then what happens to the AlphaTauri driver as he enters the pit, or you presume, and indeed he does.
Yeah, but I was wondering if Haas is going to go quite slow here. No, he's going to have to queue. He's going to probably be queuing. You certainly have to queue if you see he's got to save a 10-second penalty. Let's see if it does save it or not.
Let's see. No, they don't bother.
No.
I had a feeling. Yeah, they don't bother when it's 10 seconds, which is a bit weird. But anyway, a relief for Parsa, who does not get jumped by Dom, and he will not lose any positions. Mayor Quenby has stayed out.
Yeah. Stereogram stayed out.
Yeah, I can't make sense of that. Meanwhile,
Red Bull Kim was driving. Obviously, wants to get out ahead, or stay ahead of a number of drivers there, but instead, is going to have to take a drive through for speeding under the safety car. So, pretty jumbled up order then, and it's the second one for the safety car. Red Bull Kim. Oh dear! But this was a track where he famously hit the safety car.
How does he still have a Delta though?
I don't know. It's not even worth discussing. But yeah, so Owen stayed out, as you say. Both Hasses have stayed out, of course, with Red Bull Kim's his teammate. But this is just wondering what could be done as a result of that 10-second penalty for Seena. Like, what do you think is going to happen? But it's definitely going to go to the stewards, because Seena's obviously going to protest it. Like, I mean, Daniel P. we all not got a 3-second one, so will it just be reduced to 3 seconds for Seena as well, perhaps?
I guess it depends. I mean, I want to have a quick look back at it because, of course, we can only commentate live on what we see. We don't have access to any FOM replay footage. So if I just have a quick look back at the start and see what actually happened. Because Wheelnut was actually the driver who was on the inside, so surely then you could argue that, Seena did not have much of a choice, and indeed I don't think he did, because Wheelnut was the one who decided to go straight on. So, if Seena's on the outside, he can't turn in if there's a car in the way. So, I have a suspicion that 10 seconds will get removed. Because
removed entirely, do you think?
Well, there's literally nowhere Seena can go. If Seena tried to turn right, he would have just, turned into the Mercedes. So
let's have a look. Just gonna have a look myself here. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point, actually. Yeah, Wheelnut did sort of just go sail on it, so always sort of took Seena with him, didn't he? And then Wheelnut went across the runoff, and Seena went on the grass. But yeah, do you know what? I agree. I think Seena's going to get that penalty removed.
Yeah, because I mean, Yeah,
And the three
what else is he
seconds,
going
I
to do?
imagine, for Wheelnut's probably going to remain, isn't it? I imagine the 3 seconds for Wheelnut will remain.
Probably, yeah, because it didn't look like there was a huge attempt to make the corner. So I'd imagine, yeah, that probably will stay. So I'm kind of going to proceed as if Cena doesn't have a penalty, but Wheelnut
Yeah,
does.
yeah, I think that's probably the best thing to do right now. So Cena is in the lead. Well, he's in the net lead of this race because obviously Owen Quimby yet to pit, and Wheelnut has got a 3 second penalty. He's in that net second, but he will have 3 seconds added on, we think, and we don't think Cena will because Cena did not seem to be at fault for that crash, and he hasn't had any other warnings in the race so far, Cena. So let's see what happens then as the safety car is coming in. Now, what realistically does Owen want to happen here? Does he want another safety car, I imagine, so he can pit?
Yeah, I don't sense any logic behind this. I don't think there's a whole lot of method, but there is a whole lot of madness behind what Owen is doing. But we'll see how it pans out. I mean, stranger things have happened. This could be the gold strategy for all we know. But we'll see what happens with Cena in P2, just behind our de facto safety car, Owen Quenby. What's he going to do? How will he decide to play this? Will he do a Kaya and just dive into the pit straight away? But he's making them wait here. Someone's going to get a run behind here, surely, because you have to go at some point. And Owen goes pretty much as late as you can. But Wheelnut looks like he's got a slightly better run than Cena, but I don't think he's going to be close enough heading into turn one. But let's see what happens. And Owen has done enough to retain the lead, and Parsa tries to go around the outside of Wheelnut. He thought about turning in there, but had to back out of it in the end. We have Kaya then dropping a good few places at the restart. He's actually gone for a spin. So Kaya's dropped down to the back. Baz is up to 6th from the back of the grid. So it's been a fantastic race from the Ferrari driver so far. But Seena then still behind Owen.
Baz is, I think John went for the move there, John Menzies, and actually has lost a couple of positions as a result of it and got a penalty. But Baz starts on the medium tyres, so Baz is on the soft tyres now for the rest of the race. And he can probably get to the end, can't he, on those softs?
Yeah.
And he might be quite quick as well. So we'll see what happens with that. Owen Steve stays in the lead then, and Parsa certainly got close to Wheelnut, but couldn't make the move. Presumably we'll try again on the next lap. And look at Paul and Neljak here, side by side, and actually Neljak very early on the brakes there, and it essentially concedes the position to Paul.
Yeah, I mean, the softs will definitely last because I think there was several of us in the TGP1 race yesterday who didn't pit until lap 9, and we did qualifying on those tyres.
True,
so, Basil will be absolutely fine to complete the race. Parsa, will he be fine to complete an overtake on Daniel P. Wheelnut just up ahead of him here, because he's going to have a huge slipstream heading down into turn number 1. Wheelnut not doing a massive amount to defend it. And Parsa brakes later, makes the corner and makes the move stick, but he will have a compromised exit. Will Wheelnut decide to make a move heading into the second chicane here at Monza? Parsa wants the race in line with the lead.
Owen! Sorry, Roy, but he made slight contact there. He doesn't need to risk this, but is Wheelnut going to go for Parsa? No, he's not. Parsa jumps over the curb there, and Wheelnut could have closed back in and made the move there, but Seena almost went for Owen, made contact through Curva Grande. He managed to save the car, but wow, that was nearly race over.
And Wheelnut then getting a pretty poor run through the first Lesmo. It's one of those corners where you really have to be towards the inside of the corner, because the banking is nowhere near as steep towards the outside of the corner, and you will just understeer. But Seena then clearly has a lot more pace than Owen. Not really a surprise considering his tyres are a good bit fresher than the Haas in front.
Here comes Dom.
Dom's
going to go for Wheelnut as well.
And of course Dom's just about in the championship hunt.
Yeah, so Wheelnut losing more positions, and we think he's still going to have a 3-second penalty as well. And he's got Bazza behind him now on the fast soft tyres, as DRS now enabled.
So he won't.
But he is closing back in though on Dom, but I don't think he's going to be able to go for it. Bazza looks like Wheelnut's going to get passed by Bazza on those softs, to be quite honest. Wheelnut is not having a great night. I nearly lost the car there, Bazza, but so lap 9 of this race, Owen still hasn't pitted.
Owen, Yeah, I can't make any sense of this because by the looks of things, I mean, he's keeping the race leader behind him. The race leader who's quicker than anyone else on the circuit. So it kind of makes you think, well, if Owen just pitted, surely he'd be doing really well around here. I mean, I know he was 10th. You know, he did have a rough start to the race, but I mean, I don't really get what's going on here because if he pits, he's going to have to pit for mediums. So it's not even like he's going to bolt on a set of softs and then just, you know, yeet his way up the field. So, oh, and we have a yellow flag. Stereogram, is it?
It's, yeah, it was Red Bull Kim, maybe? I'm not sure.
It looked like an Alfa Romeo, but...
Well, Baza nearly was under attack there from... Wheelnut was nearly under attack from Baza, but Baza had a full run through Viscardi. And if anything... As DRS is now deployed, it looks like he might have a run. And Kaya's crashed out. Now will this be? We had the safety car later on in a few phases. It's a VSC. And Wheelnut's pitting.
Wheelnut's pitting.
Can't make sense of that.
No.
I have to say, I really can't make sense of that because it's not a full safety car. So that's a strange one for Wheelnut. And he's going to have a penalty as well. It's going to be even worse for him. He's going to go down to... He's going to be on soft tyres, yeah, for the next 3 laps. But
what's the point?
It's not a full safety car, so it's not really, you're not really going to be able to gain... Yeah, you're not going to be able to gain a huge amount. And he's going to have a 3-second penalty. This is this is Seena's lucky day. Because looks like he's going to win this. And he's going to close right back in on the championship now. He's going to be right there going into next week's races in Monaco, by the way, and Portugal. Can't wait for that.
Oh,
and
well.
Wheelnut's got a draft-free penalty for speeding.
How to make it even worse. Okay, so he's going to fall back behind... Well, he's going to drop to 16th. He's going to lose the 2 points that he is currently on for. As Mike Noon, whoa, that's a collision between Mike Noon and Michael Kenny. Not entirely sure that's come about. And I don't know what speed they were approaching Lesmo 1 at to end up hitting the wall on the outside, but somehow Mike Noon emerges from that in P11. Stereogram has now entered the top 10 of this race, and given that Mike's got some penalties and Wheelnut has a drive-through to serve, he may end up keeping that because we've only got 3 more laps of this race to go. Owen still leads. Owen's opportunity has gone, but at the same time, he's got pace. So he might as well stretch as much of an advantage over the others as he possibly can.
And Bazet is just getting Domi yet, which is a big move in the championship on those soft tyres. So Bazet is on for the podium here because Owen's obviously going to pit. But it looks like we're going to have a podium here of Seena, Parset, Bazet. That's quite a podium. Unless Dom can come back at him. But actually Paul's now coming for Dom as well.
Oh, Dom breaks very late. Wow, he still makes the apex. So
just got it in there, didn't he?
Owen then still not pitted as he at the start of this lap, and that virtual safety car came out just as he passed the pit lane entry. But I mean, like, I don't know what he expected here. It was never going to work out really, because best case scenario, the field would have been bunched up anyway after the first safety car, so like he would have just dropped to last. So none of this makes any sense. It is really beginning to look very idiotic. But anyways, surely he'll just pit this lap. Actually, do you know what? He might as well just go for another lap. Yeah, because he will actually put some distance.
Oh, he nearly lost it at the parabolica.
Well, let's give a run to Dom.
Dom is right there as well. So this could be all 3 of them going side by side here. Baz is having to defend. Dom goes into the inside here, pulls out for the move. Baz are very late on the brakes. There's Paul going to try around the outside. That'll turn to the inside. No Hamilton for Staffen repeat. Instead, it's Paul getting into 5th. And Dom dropping another position. Dom's in 6th, Jacko 7th. Terrible race for both of them in the championship. But Wheelnut's nowhere. Wheelnut's 15th. And it looks like Seena is going to win it. But John sets the fastest lap. What I think Owen has been doing was Owen had the fastest lap before John just took it. So maybe he was thinking of maybe backing up the pack a little bit. So it would be pretty much impossible for anyone to beat his fastest lap. But John has just done that now. So he won't be getting the fastest lap in this race. Seena has just got to not lose his head here, Seena, because there's no need for him to go for a mad move.
Yeah, I mean, this will be the lap Owen pits then. So Seena will indeed retake that lead. We're going to just again assume that that Cena doesn't have a penalty. But yeah, as you
Yeah,
said,
I'm
like
pretty sure.
If Owen did plan on backing up the pack, I mean, this is the worst circuit possible for doing that because what are you gonna do? Like, there's just let's see where he ends up anyway, because he's gonna still probably actually be in the top
I think he's gonna
10.
be ninth, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, so
So,
I mean, I still think he shouldn't have bothered. But anyway,
but
uh,
if he pissed on the previous lap, he must have been able to have a run for fastest lap as well on the last lap. But obviously, he can't do that now.
all right, I'm done trying to make any sense of it. He'll finish P9. Well done, I guess. But anyway, it's an AlphaTauri one.
Oh,
Oh,
Bassett! Oh, he just jumped over the
I
curb. I
thought he
nearly
did.
lost
Yeah,
it.
I had a terrible camera
Oh,
angle for it, but yeah, it looked
well,
like he
Baz is going to have DRS here.
Oh,
Bassett will
okay.
have DRS at the end of the race, and Wheelnut takes fastest lap, but he's not in the top 14, so it won't count. But Bassett is just within DRS, but I don't think he's anywhere near close enough to go for the move.
Yeah, well, Wheelnut, he might actually get Angel versus Death, but of course he does have a penalty, so it probably won't actually matter in the end. But let's see then. Seena is the driver who's about to cross the line to take a very, very important win and bring him right back up into the championship frame. As around the final corner comes the AlphaTauri driver. It's an AlphaTauri 1-2 here in Monza. Seena wins the Italian Grand Prix. Parsa comes home in P2 with Baza completing the podium. Paul McGee an excellent fourth from the back of the grid. Dom Smith rounds out the top 5 with Jacko in P6. Solid enough results considering what's happened to Wheelnut, who's currently only P14. He may actually get that 3-second gap on
These are like
he already has.
This might be the most important 2 points of the season here for Wheelnut. If he can hold on to this P14, which it looks like he will do, because Wheelnut went a bit wide as well through Ascari. So it looks like he'll bet 14th place and pick up 1 point and get the point for fastest lap. So a saviour at the very end there for Wheelnut. Assuming he's 14th it is for Wheelnut. 2 points.
Oh, there's Chris Johnson off. Don't know what he. Oh, okay, well. P16 for Chris Johnson. Red Bull Kim rounds the final corner, taking a detour to San Marino while he's at it. Crosses the line, and that's our final finisher of the race. Well, that's my breath now.
Very eventful races
Paul
again.
Paul McGee? Yeah. Driver of the day.
He did have a good racing, and he was at the back, wasn't he? At the very back, wasn't he? Had to storm it. But that's not the race winner. Because that's Parser, isn't it? Seena is not on the podium, but we do think he will be given the win because it definitely looked like he was not at fault for that. It's not his fault he has such electric starts. Don't know how he does it.
I do.
You do. But he got right up there and was in the lead and sort of got just taken off on a detour by Wheelnut, really, didn't he? And he got to 10 seconds, but it will not count, and it surely will be a first for Seena. Jacko finishing in 6th place in the end, despite the fact he made 3 stops. I think he had a speed and pit lane penalty as well in there at one stage. So quite a save for Jacko. He had that big spin as well, didn't he, on the start?
Yeah, he did that twice, I think. I think he had 2 speeding in the pit lane penalties. But still ends up in the top 6. Yeah, pretty sure Seena will get that penalty removed. I would be surprised if it's not at least reduced. Because 10 seconds for that, I think, is way too much. Because, he could not turn into the corner. It's just a question of did he just floor it when he was in the grass? Because that may still be worth a penalty. But, guess we'll see what happens. So your race results are on screen.
I can tell you in the championship, it is... so Dom was 5th, Jacko was 6th, wasn't he? So it'll be 164 for Dom. It will be 163 for Jacko. But then we have Seena on 198 and Wheelnut on 204. So all of a sudden, the championship between these two has been closed up. And wow, it really sets things up nicely for Monaco next week, doesn't it, and Portugal?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's quite an eventful pair of tracks for next week. Almost the opposites of each other. Portugal's quite, wide and open, whereas Monaco very much isn't. But
Yeah.
should still bring exciting racing nonetheless. Um, just trying to gather my thoughts really after after those two races. Um, yeah, Monza full of drama. Kind of what we expected, really. Monza tends to be one of the highlights of the season because you really do not know what to expect. But I think it's time to wrap up. Yeah, as we said, join us next week for Monaco and Portugal. Should be two very exciting races around 7:30 British and Irish time. Hopefully, you will see us there at that time next week. Good night.